Night at 6:30.
Good morning from CBS News Iowa Caucus headquarters in Des Moines. This is Tuesday, February 9th, and I'm Kathleen Sullivan.
And I'm Harry Smith. Welcome to CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Long night, huh, Harry?
A little bit of a long night. Not much of a rest period, but we're ready to go. Good morning, everybody.
And last night's caucuses produced some surprises. And for the Republicans, one eye-opening shocker. It is no longer a two-man race. Pat Robertson beat Vice President George Bush, finishing second behind Robert Dole. And in a moment, we're going to be talking with Pat Robertson live here in the studio.
Also coming up, we're going to be talking with Bob Dole and the top Democratic finishers, Richard Gephardt and Paul Simon. And our own Robert Krulwich will be along with a look ahead. He is shuffling his political deck, comparing Iowa with next week's primary in New Hampshire. Right now, let's take a look at the caucus results. First, the Republican straw poll results. Bob Dole is at the top. For the Kansas senator, it was a must-win, and with 37% of the vote, he made a strong showing. Then comes the stunner. Pat Robertson finishes second with 25%. He is solidly ahead of George Bush, the man who beat Ronald Reagan here in 1980. Bush has 19%, then the rest of the field. Jack Kemp finishes fourth with 11%. Pete DuPont has 7%. Alexander Haig, who gave up on Iowa, has less than 1%.
And now the Democrats. In the race for county delegates, three candidates are bunched at the top. Richard Gephardt is the winner with 31%. Snapping at Gephardt's heels with 27%, Senator Paul Simon. Finishing a close third, Michael Dukakis with 22%. Jesse Jackson's 9% places him fourth. Bruce Babbitt trails in fifth with 6%. Then the distant finishers, Gary Hart with less than 1%, and Al Gore, who didn't campaign in Iowa, he also had less than 1%.
And as we have seen from the caucus results, Iowa's voters have turned the Republican presidential contest topsy-turvy. Bob Schieffer reports on a night of triumph and upset.
At Dole headquarters, the flags waved and the bands played on. Dole was the favorite, but the size of his victory was smashing. A sweet end to a contest that had been one of the bitterest ever. As Dole told it, Iowans went for candor.
I've said from the start, I may not please everyone, but at least you know where I'm coming from.
That was a subtle dig, of course, at the vice president, who was criticized for not answering questions on Iran-Contra. Dole was surprised at his victory margin, but Pat Robertson was not. He had predicted all week he would do better than expected.
And I think the voters of Iowa have given a loud assent to the fact that I'm going to be reaching out to all Americans, that I won't be just a candidate of some narrow special interest group.
The vice president did not wait around for results. He was in New Hampshire even before the Iowa caucuses began, making no excuses but vowing to keep at it.
I wanted to do better, but I'm a fighter. I'm going to come back. I'm not going to be slinking around here. I'll be out there in the morning working hard. We got a big country here, and as you noticed, I say round 3 is coming up.
And for George Bush, the third round may be crucial because the Republican race, for all intents and purposes, was blown wide open last night in Iowa. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Des Moines.
Our CBS News survey shows that many of the people who turned out were first-time caucus goers, and many were evangelical Christians.
For the leading Democrats, the caucus results were close, as we saw, but now the Democrats have a man to beat. The congressman from the neighboring state of Missouri, Dick Gephardt. In a way, Gephardt bet the farm on Iowa.
And I love Iowa.
He spent more than 4 months campaigning here, and the gamble seems to have paid off. Gephardt goes into the New Hampshire primary next week with publicity and momentum.
Will they not make a great first family?
But New Hampshire is Dukakis country. The Massachusetts governor is expected to do well next door.
Tonight, we won the bronze. Next week, we're going for the gold.
Senator Paul Simon tried to put a good face on his second-place finish.
For someone who started out in the first Des Moines Register poll at 1%, who wasn't given a chance when I announced, that's not bad.
Jesse Jackson didn't do so badly either. In fact, he had a stronger than expected showing in a state that's less than 2% black. Bruce Babbitt watched the returns and didn't seem to like what he saw. Under the circumstances, champagne didn't quite seem right for the toast.
I might even be seen drinking a bottle of Iowa groundwater. How's that?
Gary Hart says his dismal finish in Iowa puts him back in the role of the underdog, a role that he says he cherishes. Al Gore says that he'll get more delegates in the long run than fellow Democrats who came out on top in Iowa. And we're going to have more later on the Iowa caucuses in just a moment. But now the rest of the day's news. Here's Charles Osgood in New York. Charles.
Thank you, Kathleen. The United Nations says formal talks on a Soviet pullout from Afghanistan will be held in Geneva on March the 2nd. Today's announcement paves the way for Soviet leader Gorbachev to start withdrawing 115,000 troops as early as May. Gorbachev announced the plan yesterday. The White House, which has supported the Afghan resistance in the 9-year war, says it wants more details of the pullout plan. The Pentagon holds a news conference today on the initial findings of a $250 million Star Wars experiment. Engineers worked through the night to monitor a 3-ton military satellite which was launched yesterday. The satellite released 15 targets and then tracked them as if a real space war were taking place. The test was the most complex so far in President Reagan's anti-missile defense system. Panama's military ruler Manuel Noriega is demanding that U.S. military forces withdraw from Panama. That would mean moving the headquarters of the Pentagon's Latin America command. Noriega is under indictment in the United States now on drug smuggling charges. He says he wants to pull out because the U.S. troops are threatening Panama's national security. Leaders of the Nicaraguan rebels have called off tomorrow's scheduled talks with the Sandinista government. The Contra leaders say they need more time to plan strategy now that Congress has cut off aid. In the meantime, the Contra leaders have set up a fund to collect private donations in the United States. In the financial markets, a lot of sheets and towels and other textiles are adding up to big money. Here's Ken Pruitt. Good morning, Ken.
Charlie, good morning. There's another big deal in the works on Wall Street. The management of J.P. Stevens, the big textile manufacturer, has offered $43 a share to take the company private. Well, Stevens' stock shot up to more than $12 a share to 45 5/8 as traders bet on a higher offer later on. For the overall market, it was kind of dull. The Dow Jones Industrial Average drifted down to 1895, down 15 points for the day. Federated Department Stores went up 2.5 to 59 1/8. The company is considering various plans to escape a takeover attempt by Canada's Campo Corporation. In London this morning, gold is down $1.15 an ounce at $4.39 1/4. Silver is down 3 cents at $6.26. The dollar was down in Tokyo, but it's up a little bit in European trading. Share prices are higher in London after steep declines yesterday on fears of an interest rate hike in Great Britain and also on news of a strike at British Ford. Charlie?
Thank you, Ken. It was a first for the remote islands of Indonesia, maybe a first for the world. An elephant soccer match. The Karang Sari team won 1-0 after a penalty kick in the 7th minute. But the elephants had learned well how to mimic the tempers of human World Cup play. Mambo, the goalie, got mad and staged a walkout when a referee ruled a foul and gave the other team the winning penalty kick. Sort of a complicated sport, a little bit like Iowa precinct caucuses. Here's Harry Smith back in Des Moines.
Some presidential candidates may be basking in the warmth of their Iowa reception this morning, but for weathermen it is a little bit frigid. Mark McEwen is out of a frozen Big Creek Lake near Polk City this morning. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Harry. Do the words Nanook of the North mean anything to you? How about Michelin Tire Man? I can go on for hours. You know that. I feel like an Ewok with this fur around my face. But I'm out here with a gentleman, Ross Harrison from the Department of Natural Resources. Ross, where are we?
We're at Big Creek Lake here in beautiful, balmy central Iowa, just north of Des Moines.
You could tell he's from Iowa because he doesn't even have ear flaps on this morning. This is like warm weather to him. Why are we here?
Well, we're going to do a little ice fishing later this morning, maybe a little trip on a snowmobile, and just to give you a little taste of wonderful Iowa in the wintertime.
All right. Also, there is a shack behind me back here, if you guys can see that way back there. Why don't you tell us what that's all about?
Well, when it gets really cold, they use that to stay warm while they're ice fishing. They get inside the shack, they got a heater in there, hot coffee and various other hot types of things to drink, and keep all their equipment. But as it's nice out today, they're just outside fishing.
See, the neat thing is that's a condo in New York City. That's really neat. Now, I need a fishing license. You have a fishing license for me?
I got one right there for you. You're all legal.
Do you have a heating license for me?
You don't need one. You got plenty of padding there, I think.
Thanks, Ross. On national television, he does me in. Let's do a little weather action right here and tell you that other than in New England, skies are mostly sunny across much of the eastern seaboard this morning. There's a band of snow covering much of Michigan and is now moving across Lake Erie. Chicago has seen its snow end where it's now 20 degrees. It is a frosty 6 below in International Falls, Minnesota. Also, in the southwest, it remains gorgeous today. Clear skies, pleasantly cool. 46 degrees in Phoenix, 53 in LA. Light snow is falling across much of Montana. That snow is expected to expand in coverage and get heavier as the day moves on. There you have it. That's a quick look at the national forecast. Let's take a look at your weather.
The weather for the Nashville area is going to start out with clouds in the morning, then we should turn partly cloudy by later on in the afternoon today. High temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-40s. The snow has been taken out of the forecast for tomorrow. More on that later. I'm Joe Case.
Ross, I want to thank you for being out here with me this morning.
My pleasure, Mark.
All right, now back to the warm climes of Des Moines and Kathleen.
Mark, thank you. Certainly the biggest surprise of the Iowa caucuses is the showing of Republican candidate Pat Robertson. A strong second-place finish behind Dole and decisively ahead of George Bush. And Pat Robertson joins us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Kathleen.
Congratulations.
You were very gracious. Thank you.
Surprised?
Well, frankly, not really. I would have been surprised a week ago. I wasn't surprised yesterday because we saw incredible momentum building all week long. I went on a tour, if you can believe it, a tour of Iowa. I covered 53 cities, 4 days on a bus, 2 days a couple of weeks ago, and then my last 3 days. And I met thousands of people, shook hands, and it came in last night. In the southern part of the state, I was a winner.
You said last night, I have to give God credit.
Yes.
Is that who came in second here?
Well, I think so. I don't ever like to take credit for myself. I want to give credit to him because he really did something for us, but I also want to give credit for the tremendous amount of workers. We had some of the most dedicated people. They worked night and day, sacrificially, for weeks to make this happen. These are wonderful people here in Iowa. I love the heartland of America.
CBS News New York Times exit poll shows that of the third of the Republican voters last night were fundamentalists, and you got half of their vote.
Mm-hmm.
Where have these people come from?
Well, they come from all over. They come from factories. They come from the farms. There's some senior citizens. I had a lot of college students supporting me from the University of Iowa and other universities around the state. So they're just a broad cross-section of America.
You're coming up with new voters in Hawaii,
That's right.
Also in Michigan?
Yes.
Are you going to start finding a new electorate across this country?
I think what I'm doing is reaching out my hands to a whole new spectrum of people who've really been disenfranchised. But they'll be Democrats. They'll be Roman Catholics. For example, here in Dubuque, I won Dubuque. Well, that is a Roman Catholic, Democratic, blue-collar worker city, and I won it. And a lot of those people were Democrats, and a lot of them were Roman Catholics. So this is a new side of my coalition. But there are people who want America to be number one. They want our industry to be strong, and they want to have morality back in public life. They think that the way to strengthen America is through moral strength and to see this country great, and that's been my message.
You've aligned yourself with John Kennedy in saying that you've been victimized by your religious beliefs.
Well, there's no question about it that Kennedy in 1960 was ruled out as a president because they said, well, he'll be nothing but a tool of the Pope at Rome. He put that to rest down in Houston to the Ministerial Association. And now in 1988, we're seeing the same thing with me. They say you're a strong evangelical Christian, you have deep faith in God and in Jesus Christ, and therefore you can't be president. Well, that's a type of bigotry, and I think it isn't appropriate in 1988. So I wanted to show the people you elected Kennedy, and you can take a shot on Pat Robertson and not lose.
Is that why you distance yourself from your evangelical past, and why you also ask that you're not called Reverend anymore?
Well, I've resigned my ordination because I didn't want to blur the distinctions of church and state. I really am for the religious freedom of all people in America, but everybody knows that I'm a minister, or have been, and they know about my religious background. What they don't know is that I'm trained as a lawyer, that I have run a major television network with sales in the 50 million plus range, and that I've traveled to 44 nations and done a lot of things. And so I have to catch up in a sense to tell people who I am.
Was George Bush hurt by his ties to the Reagan administration in this state?
Yes, no question about it. I think Chuck Grassley is very, very popular. He has 75% voter approval here, and he's been pretty tough against the Reagan administration. So with him helping Bob Dole, of course, gets a home court advantage, but there's no doubt that Ronald Reagan is not as popular here as he used to be.
Someone else vying for the conservative movement, Jack Kemp. You still furious about what happened in Michigan?
Well, furious isn't the word, but I do think that the American people want a president who's trustworthy, and when somebody cuts a backroom deal with somebody who's considered, quote, the enemy, it turns the conservatives off very rapidly, and I think that's what happened here with Jack. He came out really, well, I had 2.5 times the vote he did, which gives an indication of strength.
Strategy for New Hampshire.
I'm going to go on a bus tour up there. I'm going to go out and shake hands in malls. I'm going to work that place like you can't believe. I'm going to be at a factory in Portsmouth, I think, at 6 a.m. Monday morning. It's going to be a primary run to get as many votes as I can. But again, I'm going heavy radio up there to tell the message that I think gave me a victory here, namely, let's make America #1. Let's have the best education. Let's have strong defense. Let's stand up for freedom around the world and not give in to communism. And I think that's the message that the people in New Hampshire are going to want to support.
Pat Robertson, congratulations.
Thank you, Kathy.
And thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Harry?
Thank you. 16 minutes after the hour. Next, the winner of the Iowa Republican caucuses, Robert Dole.
Miss Lee, press-on nails for teens. Miss Lee press-on nails for smaller hands. Easy to put on as regular Lee press-on nails with 4 extra nails. 24 in all for a more perfectly beautiful fit. Fun at your fingertips. Miss Lee press-on nails. Introducing Lee sculptured nails. Long-lasting like salon nails, but affordable because you do them at home. Just glue, brush, shape. If you can polish your nails, you can enjoy Lee sculptured nails like nothing you've ever used before.
Ultimately, your health is your most important asset. Everything else fades in comparison. Dr. Russell Mosley of Mosley Chiropractic Clinic wants to help ensure your proper health. With a free spinal exam, Dr. Mosley can pinpoint problem areas and utilize proven methods to correct them. Through a 6-position examination, Dr. Mosley can treat lower back pain, headaches, and a variety of other health problems. So stop the pain and protect your health. Call for an appointment today at Mosley Chiropractic Clinic, 832-2056.
You know, recently Bonanza Restaurants came to me and said, Monty, we've got steak, chicken, and seafood dinners at great prices. But now we want to give an even better deal. Can you help us? No problem.
Yes, Monty. Now for only $5.99, you can get a complete T-bone dinner that includes the all-you-can-eat Fresh-Tastix food bar, and it's only at Bonanza Restaurants.
Bonanza, you got a deal.
A great T-bone and all-you-can-eat food bar, just $5.99 at Bonanza.
The pediatrician said the strangest thing on Friday. She said most kids don't get enough calcium.
Our kids? Well, they look pretty healthy to me. It's not like they don't drink milk.
Well, I thought we'd try the Citrus Hill plus calcium.
Oh, hi, guys. 100% pure orange juice plus calcium.
Same amount of calcium as milk. Oh, the doctor said it wouldn't hurt us to get some more calcium either.
She's a kid doctor.
Hey, we're not that old.
Citrus Hill plus calcium. It's extra calcium for your family, too.
As expected, Bob Dole was the strong Republican frontrunner in Iowa. The question now is how his win will affect his chances in New Hampshire, where the polls show him well behind rival George Bush. I caught up with him here in Des Moines last night.
You have to feel very good about the results tonight.
Feel very good, really do.
However, comma,
However, comma.
you were supposed to win here, and this is your neighbor state. Polls said you were going to win. It's in some ways you could say it's status quo.
Well, I don't think it's status quo, and again, you know, saying you're supposed to win. We did a lot of work. Elizabeth did, my wife, I did. We had a great team. Tom Sinorst, a bright young man, put this all together. He was our campaign coordinator. We made together probably 100 trips to this state. You just don't win because you're a neighbor. I was out here in 1980, and I was saying, I'm your neighbor, and I finished last. So I think... and Pat Robertson is not from the Midwest, and he finished second. He's from Virginia.
So, you know, it's you got to have a message. You know, the voter really wants to know, can Bob Dole make a difference, and what has he done? And I think that was a big difference between the Dole-Bush effort.
Let's talk about Pat Robertson a minute. Pat Robertson was nipping on your proverbial political heels here.
In caucus states.
In a caucus state. Now, do you have to start aiming at Pat Robertson a little bit instead of aiming so much at George Bush?
No, I think in Pat Robertson's case, I want to congratulate him. He did an outstanding job. I mean, it wasn't a freak at the straw poll in July. He demonstrated tonight he can bring people out all over this state. So I think we plant a big welcome flag and we say, welcome to the Republican Party. But I don't believe when you get into primary states, you're going to see this kind of a finish. I mean, Pat Robertson has done a remarkable job. I mean, I think he fooled every expert in town. Maybe I started hearing at 5 o'clock today, well, Robertson might finish first. That made me a little nervous because we felt good about our race, but I think you have to give him credit. I mean, he finished second, a strong second.
In terms of strategy, as you head toward New Hampshire, you've done a good job of pretty much separating yourself from President Reagan here in Iowa. Do you continue to separate yourself from President Reagan when you go to New Hampshire?
I don't know. I haven't tried to do that. I think you have to have the same message. You know, in these days of instant communications, you can't go to one state and have one message and go to another state. I'm going to talk about the deficit. I'm going to talk about a strong defense. I'm going to be a little different with the administration. I'm going to say no more arms agreements after this first one.
Does this give you the momentum you think you need to get very competitive in New Hampshire?
Well, I think, again, we have to review the history. Well, the vice president won here in '80. Big victory. Sitting vice president. A lot of advantages. Finished third in 1988. So I don't know whether you can say anybody's supposed to win. It was very important for me, but it was important for George Bush, important for Jack Kemp. I think what we do, we move to New Hampshire. I'm in second place. We've got a lot of work to do. But again, I must convince the New Hampshire voters, we did in Iowa, that Bob Dole has a message. That Bob Dole is closer to the people. That Bob Dole can make a difference. And if I can do that, you know, we might win.
Are you and George Bush done fighting?
Well, if he is, there won't be any more because we didn't start it.
But you're ready to lay down the arms?
I never picked him up, but you know, if he wants to, you know, I think that's, I think that episode is probably over. I hope so.
Saw a $100 bill in your pocket there. Did you win a bet tonight by any chance?
No, I just carry that around for good luck in case I lose all my staff. And had we lost tonight, I needed this for a taxi. But now that we won, we've still got somebody to take us back to the hotel.
Okay.
There's Bob Dole, and of course you just heard Pat Robertson a couple of minutes ago, number 1 and 2 finishers here in Iowa in the caucus.
Of the Republican caucuses,
Yes.
and coming up in the next half hour, number 1 and 2 of the Democrats, Dick Gephardt and Paul Simon in our next half hour, so stay with us.
My mother, she drinks a lot, and it got me addicted.
Drinking and taking me so far down, I had to get out of my house. It made me do things that I never thought I'd do. If I take one drink, I'm gonna take another and another because I can't control myself, and I'll die.
Hey, yo, alcohol is a drug, and you can get hooked on it. And the younger you start, the more damage you can do. Word.
I'm cool in my way, not by drinking. Now I can see going to college.
Say no, and say yes to your life.
I started work right after I got my degree. Eventually, I put everything on hold and started a family. Ask my daughter what I do, and she'll say, Mom makes orange juice. That's not so easy. This is 100% pure juice. We don't add sugar. We don't add preservatives. We don't add anything. And that's what being select is. It's not just some name on a box. I wouldn't let it be.
Kathy Brown makes Citrushill Select for your family and for hers.
Hello, friend. Al Purnell here. You know out here on the farm you need a good meal to get the day started. That's why I enjoy my breakfast so much, because it gives me energy. And that old folks sausage flavor comes through every time. It's made and seasoned just right, the way my daddy taught my brother and me a long time ago. So have an energy-packed meal featuring Purnell's Old Folks Whole Hog Country Sausage. You'll see what I mean when I say it's good.
Press-on nails for teens. Smaller size is what you mean. Miss Lee press-on nails. Color. Wow. In gum. Awesome. Fresh grape. Mean.
Now it's Miss Lee press-on nails, made for smaller hands. Easy to put on as regular Lee press-on nails and with 4 extra nails. 24 in all for a more perfectly beautiful fit.
Fun at your fingertips. Miss Lee press-on nails. Press on!
From Channel 5, this is an Eyewitness News Update.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joyce Garbasiak. The rumors of snow are just that. Here's Joe Case to tell us more. Joe?
Oh, thank goodness they're only rumors now. Cloudy skies out there this morning with a little upper-level disturbance as it moves right on across the area. But these partly cloudy skies back here will move on in a little bit later on today. The map will show the temperatures are going to be mainly in the 30s and 40s for most of the Mid-South today. Very cold again up north, fairly warm down south. Currently outside, we have mostly cloudy skies and 35 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies expected for the remainder of the morning, then partly cloudy by the afternoon with a high temperature of 47 degrees today. Let's look at the weather. Now let's check on the traffic, Joyce.
Joe, just one accident to report at this hour, but it's a big one. A 7-car pileup located at I-65 southbound and Shelby Street. In our news, a proposed alcohol detoxification center for Nashville's homeless is drawing fire from a number of East Nashville residents. They don't want it in their neighborhood, and they don't want their streets to become home to Metro street people. Frank Mann reports.
Isn't it a crying shame? If Nashville street people have nowhere to go now, they may find it even more difficult finding a place to seek help. A federally funded detox center is being proposed for this East Nashville building, but residents in the area are so opposed to it, it may not get off the ground.
There won't be a barbed wire fence, there won't be an armed guard, and there won't be any need for those. Nor will there be people from the program wandering about the neighborhood committing crimes.
Why is it we should have this burden placed on us? How many locations have been investigated in Green Hills, Belle Meade, and West End?
We need the center. We need the money. But does it have to be here?
According to this letter, which went out to neighbors recently, the new detox center won't cause any more problems than the Clover Bottom Developmental Center, which used to be in the building. That's exactly what these people are afraid of. For years, they say, mentally retarded patients wandered off the grounds, and with an elementary school just down the street, wandering street persons could be even more dangerous.
They will steal, they will kill, they will do anything to drink and to abuse, regardless of whether they have a home or they don't.
Metro health officials insist that anyone behind these walls will stay there, that the neighborhood should not worry, that this center will be helping people who have long since been overlooked. The residents believe the center will just bring this. Frank Mann, Channel 5, Eyewitness News.
We'll have more news right after this.
Enter a world of excitement, where fantasy comes to life, where the stakes are high and secrets fly for your entertainment tonight. Enter a world of excitement, enter the world of entertainment tonight.
Entertainment Tonight, weeknights at 10:30 on Channel 5.
Tennessee Senator Albert Gore Jr. is spending another day campaigning in the South. He chose to ignore the Iowa caucuses, and it showed. He only picked up less than 1% of the vote, fewer votes than New York Governor Mario Cuomo, and Cuomo wasn't even on the ballot. But Gore did pick up an important endorsement yesterday. Kentucky Governor Wallace Wilkinson announced he would back Gore. U.S. Representative Marilyn Lloyd of Chattanooga has changed her mind. Lloyd says she is going to seek another term in Congress. The 3rd District Congresswoman originally said she would retire at the end of this term. Taking one last look at weather, right now it's 35 degrees under mostly cloudy skies in Nashville. CBS This Morning continues after this.
Their country called, and they answered bravely. Tennesseans have always been willing to pay the price for liberty. Some are still paying.
Our responsibility is to make sure that they're protected to a certain degree from being exploited.
Is someone taking advantage of our disabled veterans?
We did not encourage them making a will at all.
Hear how the veterans who gave so much may be asked to give up even more. Where there's a will, there's a way. An Eyewitness News Focus 5, tonight at 10.
You know, it's funny. Rumors have a way of hanging on, even when they're not true. Take the rumors about AIDS. People still believe you catch AIDS from shaking hands or sharing telephones. The truth is, there's not a single case of AIDS on record caused by casual contact. Put a stop to the rumors. Once and for all, find out the facts.
Rumors are spreading faster than AIDS. For more information, write the American Red Cross.
How your spouse can help your diet this morning at 11.
Good morning, I'm Harry Smith, and welcome back to Iowa and our caucus coverage. How are you doing this morning?
In Des Moines, good morning. I'm Kathleen Sullivan.
Coming up on this half hour, Missouri Representative Richard Gephardt. He campaigned harder than anyone else in Iowa, and it paid off. We will talk live with Illinois Senator Paul Simon. He finished second to Gephardt among the Democrats in last night's caucuses.
Waiting in the wings right now, also coming up in this half hour. If Robert Krulwich were a betting man, would he put his money on the winners of the Iowa caucuses or the winners of next week's New Hampshire primary? Well, we're going to find out how Robert plays his political cards in just a moment. Now, here's Faith Daniels in New York with the news. Faith?
Kathleen, Iowa is the big story of the day, and here's how they finished in Iowa. The surprises were in the Republican caucuses, where Bob Dole rang up a stronger victory than he even expected. Dole got 37% of the straw vote, but the runner-up was a shocker. Pat Robertson with 25% of the vote. Robertson spilled George Bush to third place with 19%. The trailers were Jack Kemp with 11%, Pete DuPont with 7%, Alexander Haig with less than 1%. For the Democrats, the winner is Richard Gephardt with 31%. Paul Simon is second with 27%. Michael Dukakis completes the top three with 22%. Jesse Jackson finishes fourth with 9%. Bruce Babbitt has 6%. Gary Hart and Albert Gore at the bottom with less than 1%. For the winning Gephardt, 4 months of campaigning in Iowa paid off. Gephardt celebrated last night, declaring how much he loves the Hawkeye State. The Missouri congressman now rolls with momentum into New Hampshire. Simon describes his second-place finish as solid, and he says he's well organized in New Hampshire. But the Granite State is Dukakis country, and Dukakis says he is ready to win the gold there next week. On the Republican side, flags were waving at Bob Dole headquarters, where the size of the senator's victory was described as smashing. Pat Robertson was thanking his followers, as he puts it, helping him reshape the Republican Party. When the results came in, George Bush was already in New Hampshire, making no excuses.
All it does is convince me, get the message out better, do a better job, and I got to work harder, though I don't know how I can do that too well, and pound away on the message.
But Robertson just told us a few moments ago that Bush's ties to President Reagan hurt him in Iowa. The spotlight now shifts from the Iowa caucuses to the first-in-the-nation primary next Tuesday in New Hampshire, an important test for the Iowa leaders, Dole and Gephardt. Reagan administration officials say they want more information about a newly announced Soviet plan to pull troops out of Afghanistan. The Kremlin says all Soviet troops could withdraw by May if peace talks sponsored by the UN bring about a settlement by next month. But the United States says precise details of a ceasefire would have to be worked out before the U.S. will agree to stop funding the Afghan rebels. An Israeli historian, a member of the commission that probed Kurt Waldheim's Nazi past, is accusing the Austrian president of twisting the commission's findings. And historian Yehuda Wallach says Waldheim could be liable to prosecution. Austria's government commissioned the report. It found that while Waldheim knew Nazi war crimes were taking place, there is no evidence he actually took part in those crimes. An Arab teenager was found dead in the Israeli-occupied territories today, and the Palestine Press Service says Israeli troops shot him. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Shamir says anti-Israeli protests are part of an Arab campaign to destroy Israel. 49 Palestinian rioters have been killed in more than 2 months of bitter fighting. Tonight, the CBS News broadcast 48 Hours will examine the ongoing violence in the occupied territories. 48 Hours airs tonight at 8 Eastern Time. Now checking out some people in the news, final arguments are scheduled today in the illegal lobbying trial of Lynn Nofsinger. The defense rested its case yesterday without calling the former White House aide to the stand. Jane Fonda says most Western Massachusetts residents think it's okay for her to make a movie there. Fonda commissioned a poll after a veterans group tried to block the shooting because of her Vietnam protests. And Joan Collins has agreed to pay her former husband, Peter Holm, $180,000 in a divorce settlement. Asked if she'd learned a lesson from her 13-month marriage to Holm, the Dynasty star said, yes, don't get married again. That's the latest from this end. Now back to Iowa and to Kathleen.
Thank you, Faith. Lesson for all of us. And now for the weather, we go back to Mark at Big Creek Lake, which is one of Iowa's beautiful state parks. And Mark also has a guest. It looks like you're in Alaska.
Yeah, I think I am. In my mind, I'm in Alaska. You know, they asked me, what do I catch in this lake? Influenza is what I catch out here. But actually, I want to tell you about the weather segment this morning is brought to you by Sinus Excedrin, extra strength sinus headache medicine. And I'm here with Marion Conover. And Marion, what do you catch when you're ice fishing?
Well, in Big Creek Lake, mostly crappie and bluegill, although some walleye and largemouth bass also.
Now, what do you get to get these little suckers that come out of water? What are you using for bait?
Well, you can use minnows or waxworms. I got a few waxworms here. They're just look like little maggots here. I don't know if the people can see them, but they're little white grubs.
You know, I carry little maggots in my pocket all the time. You never know when an ice fishing situation will crop up. Little grubs. How do you get the hole in the ice?
Well, we use an ice auger. It drills about a 6 or 8 inch hole depending. I have one right here, and the main thing is keep it sharp. We have about 15, 18 inches of ice over most of the lake.
Well, all right. Hey, I tell you, if any of you guys want me to bring you back a fillet of fish, put your orders in now. But what I'm going to do right now, Marion, is do a little bit of weather right here. Let me tell you that that storm that spread through the Midwest yesterday will move into southern Canada as it begins to weaken. Some light snow will spread over western sections of Pennsylvania and New York by this afternoon. Skies will be mostly sunny for a good portion of the deep south. Temperatures generally will be in the mid-50s. Also, look for a sliver of sunshine across the upper Midwest as colder air moves into the region. That developing storm you see moving into Wyoming will probably dump between 3 and 6 inches of snow from the northern Rockies across into the western high plains. Southwest, another beautiful day, sunshine and temperatures in the upper 70s. That's a quick look at the national forecast. Let's take a look at your weather.
The weather for the Nashville area is going to start out with clouds in the morning, then we should turn partly cloudy by later on in the afternoon today. High temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-40s. The snow has been taken out of the forecast for tomorrow. More on that later. I'm Joe Case.
Marion, I want to thank you for coming out here this morning and helping us out. Like I said, I'll bring some fish back with me. Now we go back to Des Moines and Kathleen and Harry.
Thank you, Mark. 24 minutes before the hour now. Coming up next, Illinois Senator Paul Simon. He finished a very solid second in the Democratic caucuses. He's up next.
When I have a headache, I take Excedrin. But when I have a face ache, and my face aches all over from sinus congestion, pressure on my eyes, my cheeks, my forehead, I take new Sinus Excedrin.
Introducing Sinus Excedrin, extra strength pain reliever plus the maximum amount of decongestant you can buy, and nothing to make you drowsy.
If you have a face ache, take new Sinus Excedrin, the face ache medicine from Bristol Myers.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. This is my hair in the morning. So I wash it, just like you, and blow it dry, just like you. So how come my hair looks great despite all this? I discovered Pantene.
Pantene's Pro-Vitamin B5 complex penetrates your hair to give it inner strength so it looks healthier, stronger.
And it's always beautiful, just like mine.
Pantene shampoos and conditioners, serious care for beautiful hair.
The great thing about Bounce is it has no cling. It gives me the freedom to move the way I want to move. Our dance teacher tells us that when you're in the air, you should really believe that you can fly. And I like it when even my clothes feel that way. With Bounce, even while I'm wearing them, they feel great. They don't cling any weather, any time. They just flow with you.
No cling Bounce.
See how smooth it is?
The birthday party's over, but look at this grape juice stain.
Resolve challenges your carpet cleaner. Liquid Resolve against the leading foam. On tough grape juice, Resolve cleans better.
What a difference.
Resolve, the carpet cleaner that really works.
Moms sure make life easier. Mine did. Like another mom, Phillips Milk of Magnesia. Phillips Mom helps your body work naturally for easy overnight relief. Even has this convenient dosage cup. Nobody treats you better than Mom.
Last half hour, we talked with the Republicans. This half hour, the Democrats. Democrat Paul Simon of Illinois finished second in his neighboring state of Iowa, behind Richard Gephardt and ahead of Michael Dukakis. Now Simon looks toward New Hampshire, where the caucus has the home court advantage, as they say. Senator Simon joins us this morning. Have to feel pretty good, but not terrific, perhaps, about last night.
That's a pretty good analysis, though I have to add, NBC, as of about 15 minutes ago, still had not declared a winner here in Iowa.
All right. Well, the Des Moines Register and just about everybody else has you coming in
Yes.
second. How long can you continue? Michael, the caucus is supposed to finish well ahead of everybody in New Hampshire next week. How long can you continue to finish second and expect to stay in the race?
Well, it's very interesting. After you total the delegates from Iowa and New Hampshire, you will probably have virtually a dead heat between the three of us. Then we will move on to the next four states, Minnesota, South Dakota, Maine, and Wyoming. And those four states then become very important after New Hampshire.
Didn't you really need to win here, though, at least to have the kind of a profile, to win the money, to get the money you need to sort of fuel a front-running kind of campaign?
Well, it would have been better, no question about it. I would much prefer to have come in first. But it is close enough, the headline in the morning Des Moines Register, it's a squeaker, that clearly I'm in there. And considering where I came from, I 1% in the first Des Moines Register poll after I announced. People saying I didn't have a chance. But the basic message of caring, of fighting for working men and women, of building a safer world, of having a candidate, frankly, in the words of Coretta Scott King, with fire in the heart. I think that is catching on.
It's interesting you bring that up, because the notion is that the people you appeal to are real traditional, almost kind of blue-collar, even lower-income Democrats, a Hubert Humphrey sort of Democrat. Our excerpt poll shows that you did best with college graduates who make over $35,000 or more. Does that surprise you?
Well, not too much, because I think the message is a sound one. But it is tough to get that over initially. People don't, when there's 7 candidates out there, to filter through all of those messages, not easy. But I think it's going to be a little easier now as we move into New Hampshire and beyond.
Okay, everybody's talking strategy this morning. What is your strategy as you move on to New Hampshire?
My strategy is to convey that same basic message. We have to build, we have to care for people much more than we have. We have to be sensitive to the less fortunate. We have to build a safer world.
The Republicans have been throwing a lot of rocks, sticks, and what have you at each other. Are the Democrats going to start getting nasty now as it gets down toward crunch time, do you think?
Well, I hope there will be comparisons, but but with restraint, so that we don't hurt whoever is the nominee at Atlanta. And I think we're going to do that.
In terms of this finish, Gephardt has gotten so much of the ink, it's almost as if the momentum is already passed. Even if you end up even finishing so close to him, is it a loss that you think that you'll be able to distinguish yourself from? I guess I'm not asking a very...
Yes.
You understand the question?
I understand the question, and the answer is yes, we can. New Hampshire will be part of that process, and then you have those next 4 states. And I think by the time you go through all of that, the message will be out there. And the very fact that you have 3 front runners will make it a little easier for us to get our message across.
Paul Simon, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Good to be with you again.
18 minutes before the hour. Kathleen?
Harry, coming up next, the Democratic winner, Dick Gephardt.
Welcome, fellow Cupids. It's Valentine's Day, and we're going to help them find their heart's delight. Right? Right! And is Hallmark going to make it special? You bet! With this sweetheart bracelet. Cute, huh? And it's free. A gift from Hallmark retailers with any $5 Hallmark purchase. Now go out there and win their hearts! Yeah!
Find your bracelet at Hallmark, the place to go when you care enough to send the very best.
The mood is gotten, the moment your own. Abandon yourself to the feel. Take comfort in cotton.
For 12
hours of cold relief, pharmacists recommend Drixoral most. But what might a pharmacist recommend if he ran out of Drixoral? Another pharmacy. Drixoral, the pharmacist's favorite.
They used to call me a tomboy. I'd climb these trees in my daddy's groves and eat the oranges fresh picked. I'd come home with orange nails and a sticky chin, and Mom would put me right in the tub. That fresh picked goodness is captured by Tropicana Pure Premium. The other major brands add things to or take things out of their juice. With Pure Premium, the way the rain and the sun make it is the way you taste it. Tropicana Pure Premium. You just can't pick a better juice.
No, take the last one. I can make another batch.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. You can whip up a chewy no big patch in minutes. However, nobody has to know that but you.
I know how you love them, so I don't mind the work.
Besides, Rice Krispies Treats certainly taste like somebody slaved over them.
Really? It's no bother.
Rice Krispies Treats, so good it's hard to believe how easy they are.
It's worth any amount of trouble if it makes my Valentine happy.
The congressman from Missouri, Dick Gephardt, got a big win here in his neighboring Iowa. He now heads for New Hampshire, a long way from home. And I spoke with him last night here in Des Moines about his future prospects in light of his caucus victory. Congressman, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What do you think the chord was that you struck in the Iowa voters?
People in Iowa, and I think everywhere, are hurting economically. The unemployment figures look good, but what's happening in America is that we're losing our standard of living. Wages are slowly falling, and at the end of the month, most families today have less money to spend than they had a couple of months back. And so what they're looking for is someone who has a vision and a sense of where this country needs to go to get our economy revived. And when I talk about trade and agriculture and energy and the rest of this clump of issues that have to do with economic success, I think it strikes a chord.
But Congressman, how much of what you have accomplished here can translate into New Hampshire?
I think all of it does, because I think people in New Hampshire are as worried about what happens to farmers and what happens to factory workers as they are what happens in New Hampshire. Because as I said, they face the same problems we face in the Midwest, and that is a declining standard of living.
Tactically, how are you going to deal with those New Hampshire voters who go through the very cold winter when you say, I think we need an oil import tax?
I've been talking about it there for about a year and a half, and I'm convinced that New Hampshireites are as interested as everyone else in a national, long-term energy policy. And the issue for New Hampshireites, what I've been saying is that would you rather pay 10 cents more a gallon now for oil and then have that money go to the federal treasury, or wait 2 or 3 years when OPEC is back in control again and then have the price go up by 50 cents and have all the money go to OPEC? I think they can see that it's in their direct self-interest to do it now and to get us on a better track toward energy independence.
Your stands on the issues in the past now come under even greater scrutiny. Quote-unquote flip-flop, ERA, abortion, Social Security. How are you going to address that?
I think all of us in public life, and I've been in public life now about 15, 16 years, have to constantly re-examine issues as you go along. And you grow and you change when it's right to change. I'd rather change and be right than be rigid and be wrong. Every time I go to vote, I try to examine in my heart and mind what is the best thing for the people of this country. And as facts and circumstances change, you should change.
You now come into center stage. What are you going to do to show the American people that you can truly be their leader?
I think by talking to them directly and honestly about what it's going to take to regain control of our economic destiny. I think people feel adrift. They feel that we're at sea in the budget, in energy policy, in trade, and they see their wages declining. They see good jobs leaving America, and so they look for a leader, I think, in 1988 who says, I have a sense of what needs to be done, and I have the ability to do it. I've got 80 members of the House who are campaigning with and for me, and I think that means I do have, if and when I get there, the ability to get it done.
Congressman, let me give you 2 scenarios, and you have to choose which one you'd rather have. It's October. St. Louis is in the World Series. You're pitching. Jack Clark is on the team. Or you could be the Democratic candidate.
Well, I'll be the Democratic candidate, but when I was a youngster in high school in St. Louis, I would have said I'd rather be pitching for the Cardinals.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you.
A couple minutes now before the hour. Coming up next, Robert Krulwich with a political ace or two up his sleeve.
Jacqueline Bailey, your daughter's getting married.
At last.
And you've got dirty dentures.
But I just soak them.
Soaking's not enough. Brushing with Denture Cream Denture toothpaste cleans denture film much better. Look, against Efferdent, Denture Cream cleans almost twice as clean in only 90 seconds.
Twice as clean.
Don't get caught with dirty dentures. Brush with Minty Denture Cream or Denture Gel.
I'll dazzle him at the reception.
Sara Lee has a bagel for people who like lots of raisins, for people who like lots of poppy seeds, and for people who don't like anything at all.
Nobody doesn't like Sara Lee.
I'll never forget that night.
Traffic alert.
My throat was so sore it hurt to talk.
Try Sucrete Spray.
Maximum Strength Sucrete Spray with diclonine lasts twice as long as the other brand.
Now I use Maximum Strength Sucrete Spray.
Lasts twice as long.
The Iowa caucus now behind us, the New Hampshire primary a week away. The question Robert Krulwich looks at this morning is, which contest more accurately predicts who gets nominated? All right, which one is it, Robert, Iowa or New Hampshire?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Kathleen, because Harry Smith and I spent pretty much the whole night last night dealing with that very problem. When I say dealing, I mean it literally. We were playing primary poker. It's a little-known card game. In my hand, I had all the winners of the New Hampshire primaries going back to 1972. Harry had in his hand all the winners in Iowa. We matched cards. The state that predicts the most nominees correctly wins the pot. Let's see what happened.
So what are we going to play, Robert?
Let's play Democrat, and I will be New Hampshire, the New Hampshire primaries.
All right, I'll be the Iowa caucus.
Okay, let's go back to 1984. I will deal you the winner of the New Hampshire primary in 1984, Mr. Beautiful, Gary Hart. See if you can beat Gary Hart.
That is a tough card. Tough card you put down there. Tell you what, I will see your Gary Hart, and I will raise you and win the Democratic nomination in 1984 with
Walter
Fritz Mondale.
You win. Walter Mondale was the nominee that year. All right.
Of course he was.
One for
Of course he
Iowa.
was.
1980.
Yeah. All right. I'm starting to like this game. Let me deal.
Okay.
1980?
1980.
Jimmy Carter.
I'll see your Jimmy Carter, quite literally. In New Hampshire, we also voted for Jimmy Carter. It's a
I
draw.
guess that's a draw.
Okay,
All right.
Iowa stays ahead. We go to 1976. Did New Hampshire, Iowa do better in 76? We are going to, in that year, produce the vote for Jimmy Carter. He won the nomination. There's no way you can beat me.
We're going to throw you a little bit of a curve. 1976, uncommitted.
Nobody there. Okay.
What's the score?
I walk away. A success for New Hampshire. We are now even. One for Iowa, one for New Hampshire, one draw. 72 tells it all.
Let me deal again.
Please.
All right. You thought uncommitted was a joke the last time? Watch this. Uncommitted again.
All right. We, however, will surprise you in the state of New Hampshire. Mr. Ed Muskie.
Ooh.
But Ed Muskie didn't win.
No, who won? Oh, no, it's Ed, who's this? Who's this?
George McGovern.
Oh, right, I had him in my head all the time.
So what's the
All right, the final tally will be Iowa was correct twice, New Hampshire was correct twice, we're even. Both states are equally predictive on the Democratic side.
How about the Republicans?
Before we go on to the Republicans, there is this difference in Iowa, between Iowa and New Hampshire. For the Democrats, Iowa is where many campaigns come alive, as with Gephardt yesterday. However, New Hampshire is the place where many Democrats go to die. Harry Truman died there, LBJ died there, Ed Muskie died there. So there's that difference, but let's go back to our game.
So, Robert, we're playing the same game, right?
Same game, except we're Republicans now. All right, I'm going to be the New Hampshire primary.
And I'll be the Iowa caucus.
Okay, 1984, the people of New Hampshire pick Ronald Reagan.
Well, 1984, Ronald Reagan was uncontested, so...
Okay, it's a draw.
All right, no contest.
1-1. 1980 now, your bid.
Well, if you're keeping score, the Iowa caucus fans are going to be a little disappointed because George Bush was the choice of the Iowa caucus.
Bush. 1980, we in New Hampshire picked Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the nominee, as it turns out. We make some money.
Don't steal all my money.
New Hampshire pulls out into the lead. 1976, your bid.
Mine, 1976 was actually your bid.
Okay. All right. Who do I got here?
What happened?
Jerry Ford. Okay. Jerry Ford is the nominee.
Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford was also the choice of the Iowa caucus in 1976, Mr. Smarty Pants.
So we're still ahead in New Hampshire, not by much. 1972, what do you do?
1972, I have some very bad news for all Iowa caucus fans because the caucus was late, there really wasn't a presidential preference, and in 1972 we picked...
You didn't play.
No.
Well, however, that same year, New Hampshire picked Richard Milhouse Nixon. He won the nomination. That
what does this mean?
We win the hand. New Hampshire gets all your money. It also means that for the last 4 elections, New Hampshire has been completely 100% accurate every single time. The moral is, if you are a Republican candidate, clearly the place to win is New Hampshire. So, on to New Hampshire.
Drinking ginger ale, crew, which you disappoint me. 4 before the hour. Still coming up in the next hour, a live interview with Gary Hart.
Flight 124, fly runway heading to 3000, right turn to 270. You are cleared for takeoff.
Presenting DuPont Certified Stainmaster Carpet. Stainmaster gives you a revolutionary level of protection against stains and spills that's unsurpassed by any other carpet you can buy today. Because you never know.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Stainmaster from DuPont Carpet Fibers.
Scott Emerson once had a heart attack. Today, he had a son. Studies show Bayer aspirin helps reduce the risk of heart attacks. Ask your doctor about a regimen of exercise, the right foods, and Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
The ultimate cleaning machine has something new. Introducing Lemon Fresh SOS. Now, whatever dirty, greasy mess you get into, cleaning it up with Lemon Fresh SOS can make it a little nicer.
Now on CBS This Morning, here's a look at your weather.
The weather for the Nashville area is going to start out with clouds in the morning, then we should turn partly cloudy by later on in the afternoon today. High temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-40s. The snow has been taken out of the forecast for tomorrow. More on that later. I'm Joe Case.
Coming in the next hour, Dr. Bob Arnott with an insight into new surgery for farsightedness, and we're also going to talk live to New Hampshire, to the head of the Democratic and Republican Party there, to see what they expect in the next week.
And the forgotten man, Gary Hart, live in our next hour. Whatever happened to his candidacy? We'll find out.
So stay with us when CBS This Morning continues from Des Moines, Iowa.
Is that a twig cracking or a rifle cocking? Did the bush on the right move? You're a member of Bravo Company. Have a nice night.
Tour of Duty. Tour of Duty at 8.
7 Central and Mountain.
Simon and Simon at 9.
8 Central and Mountain.
Knots Landing at 10.
9 Central and Mountain.
Thursday's a thrill.
On CBS.
The inside story on presidential politics from reporters Dan Rather, Bob Schieffer, Bruce Morton, and Leslie Stahl on the CBS Evening News.
This is CBS.
This is a Channel 5 Good News Break.
Hi, I'm Joyce Garbasiak, and this is businessman Criswell Freeman, head of one of the largest property management companies in the nation. Freeman conveys his business philosophies to employees by way of a calendar. He prints up several thousand with different inspirational thoughts for each day. And Freeman still finds the time to voluntarily teach a business class to junior achievement students.
This has been a Good News Break from Channel 5.
Okay, it's decided. And a man refrigerator.
Right on.
So what do you think, freezer on the top or on the side?
Either way.
Of course, Amanda also makes one with a freezer on the bottom.
Good.
I Let's get one on the side with an ice maker.
Aren't you going a little overboard? I mean, it's just a refrigerator.
A man isn't really that expensive. Besides, you didn't think buying that giant screen TV was going overboard.
How can you compare a refrigerator with a necessity of life?
Sewell Electric, Franklin, 794-2518.
Hello, friend. Alan Purnell here. Lots of people have been asking my mama and me how Old Folks Country Sausage got its name.
Old Folks was your daddy's nickname, Alan. When he was a little boy, he hung around with old folks because he wanted to learn things.
Like how to make sausage the old-fashioned way. And that's the way we still make it, including lean cuts of the whole hog, all natural spices, and no water added. So try Old Folks Whole Hog Country Sausage, because it's good.
Gunsmoke, weeknights at 11 on Channel 5.
Good morning and welcome back to CBS This Morning. I'm Kathleen Sullivan.
And I'm Harry Smith. We're at CBS News Iowa Caucus headquarters in Des Moines.
Let me now show you a scene that happened just a couple minutes ago. Nashua, New Hampshire. There's George Bush, hoping for a better week ahead. He finished third in Iowa last night, behind Pat Robertson and Robert Dole. George Bush out on the stump early this morning. A long week ahead for him. And coming up in just a couple moments, we're going to ask Gary Hart if his poor caucus showing last night is giving him some second thoughts about his revived campaign.
Also coming up a little bit later on, Dr. Bob Arnott on a controversial new surgical technique from the Soviet Union, an operation to cure farsightedness. Right now, let's take a look at the results of last night's Iowa caucuses. For Republicans, the straw poll vote shook down this way, with nearly all precincts reporting. As expected, Bob Dole came away the winner with 37% of the vote. Then the shocker, former TV evangelist Pat Robertson, a strong second with 25%. George Bush knocked down to third with 19%. Jack Kemp in fourth with 11%. Pete DuPont is fifth with 7%. Al Haig finishing even below those with no preference. Next up is New Hampshire and the primary next Tuesday. George Bush is campaigning already there this morning. We saw that picture. He needs a win badly and is favored. Pat Robertson and Bob Dole told us they're planning a catch-up campaign by pushing issues.
So I'm just going to go keep harping away on the issues. Somebody will listen. There are a lot of people worried about the deficit in New Hampshire, deficit spending. They're looking for strong leadership.
Let's make America number one. Let's have the best education. Let's have strong defense. Let's stand up for freedom around the world and not give in to communism. And I think that's the message that the people in New Hampshire are going to want to support.
Wagon saying he will focus on his political message and let New Hampshire decide.
And Harry, for the Democrats, the caucuses went pretty much as expected. Richard Gephardt came away a winner with 31%. Paul Simon, a close second with 27%. Michael Dukakis, not too far away in third with 22%. Jesse Jackson's fourth with 9%. Bruce Babbitt in fifth with 6%. Gary Hart and Al Gore both finished with less than 1% each. Well, win, place, show, or worse, the candidates of both parties now turn to New Hampshire. And here's what the Democrats are saying about the nation's first primary on February 16th.
I will take our cause all across this country.
Next stop, New Hampshire, where Gephardt will try to parlay Iowa's first place finish into another win. It won't be easy. Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis is running far ahead in the polls there.
I said this was going to be a marathon, and I'm an old marathoner. And I know that the guy that wins the marathon isn't the fella that gets out in front first.
Senator Paul Simon is looking ahead, too, not wanting to talk too much about his second-place finish.
It is on to New Hampshire. Love you, Greenfield. Love you, Greenfield.
But Jesse Jackson was in no hurry to leave his Iowa headquarters after his stronger-than-expected run. And then there's Bruce Babbitt, who leaves Iowa short of votes and money.
You know, I feel kind of like the kids standing around the bonfire at the end of summer camp, you know.
And there is other news outside Iowa this morning. Here's Charles Osgood in New York. Charles?
Thank you, Kathleen. The White House says it expects to learn more soon about the Soviet Union's offer to pull its troops out of Afghanistan. Moscow says the withdrawal could start as early as May if a peace settlement is reached next month. United Nations officials are expressing optimism about peace talks scheduled to begin March the 2nd in Geneva. The Pentagon says it will keep U.S. military forces in Panama despite a call from General Manuel Noriega to withdraw them. Noriega said yesterday that the U.S. forces, about 10,000 strong, are threatening Panama's national security. Noriega happens to be under indictment in the United States on drug smuggling and racketeering charges. The Nicaraguan Contras have postponed tomorrow's peace talks with the Nicaraguan government, saying the chief Contra negotiator couldn't be there. And the Contras have set up a fund to collect private donations from American citizens. The Contras hope to make up some of what they will lose because of Congress's rejection of the latest Contra aid package. NASA plans a major test of Star Wars technology. Scientists launched a 3-ton military satellite aboard a Delta rocket yesterday from Cape Canaveral. The satellite is tracking 15 orbiting targets which are supposed to represent Soviet missiles. NASA wants to see if the satellite can tell the difference between real weapons and decoys. Former Supreme Court nominee Robert Bork is denouncing the senators who voted him down. In his first speech since quitting the bench, Bork accused Senator Edward Kennedy of waging an unfair campaign of lies and intellectual vulgarity against him. Huge crowds are expected at the San Diego Zoo today to bid farewell to some cuddly creatures from the Far East. It's the last day Bossie and Yen Yan will be munching on bamboo in America. Pandas are on loan from China. They were to have left for home today, but the ogling crowds have been so big that the Chinese government agreed to give the pandas an extra 24 hours of life in the West. Back to Des Moines now, and here's Harry.
Thanks very much, Charlie. Now for the weather, back to Mark McEwen, looking a little frozen and forlorn out on, what lake is that after all?
This is, look at this. Will you look at this? Did I catch something or what? See, you're laughing back there. This guy's going on a bun and heading back to New York with me. Let me get him back in the water. I'm on Big Creek Lake out here. You know, weather is a big deal out here in Iowa because we have such, nice cold winters. I want to show you something right now from our CBS affiliate, KCCI TV8. They've been great to us out here. They have a weather beacon. People can look at this weather beacon and find out what the weather is, and there's a little poem that goes with it. Weather beacon red, warmer weather is ahead. Weather beacon white, cold weather is in sight. Weather beacon green, no change in temperature is foreseen. When the beacon flashes by night or day, precipitation is on its way. Also, when the weather beacon is dark, that's when someone is frozen and his name is Mark. That's a little something I added to that one there for you. But that's how you can find out without actually having to call up, although they do have weather hotlines. Since I'm out here freezing you-know-what off, I'm out here on the lake. Let's talk a little weather action here. A storm that spread through the Midwest yesterday is going to move into southern Canada a little bit later on as it begins to weaken today. Some light snow will spread over western sections of Pennsylvania and New York by this afternoon. Skies will be mostly sunny for a good portion of the deep south. That's good because they had some cold weather earlier this week. Temperatures generally will be in the mid-50s. Look for a little bit of sunshine across the upper Midwest. Colder air moves into that region today. That developing storm you see moving into Wyoming will probably dump between 3 and 6 inches of snow from the northern Rockies across into the western high plains. That's a quick look at the national forecast. Let's take a look at your weather.
The weather for the Nashville area is going to start out with clouds in the morning, then we should turn partly cloudy by later on in the afternoon today. High temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-40s. The snow has been taken out of the forecast for tomorrow. More on that later. I'm Joe Case.
There you go, Kathleen. I'm bringing this one back for you. Now we go back to Des Moines and Kathleen.
You can keep it, Mark. Well, from Iowa now, the presidential race moves to New Hampshire, where Tuesday's primary will be the next big test for the candidates. How do the Iowa results affect the New Hampshire picture? For a look at that, we're going to go live to Manchester, New Hampshire this morning, where we're joined by the party leaders of that state. Democrat Joe Maso and Republican Elsie Vartarian. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Boy, a heavy week ahead for both of you. Elsie, first to you. How is this big Pat Robertson surprise going to play in the mix in New Hampshire?
Well, I think it's going to be part of the mix, certainly. We're going to have a very frenzied, active week, I believe, from all of the campaigns, Kathy.
Well, what is the expected order of finish in New Hampshire now?
Well, I wouldn't hesitate to put any numbers, but I think that certainly Robertson will be a factor. I think Jack Kemp will be a major factor in New Hampshire, something that hasn't been discussed too much of late. Certainly the Vice President and Bob Dole are going to be off and running first thing this morning, so we've got a very active, busy week of everybody ahead of us.
Boy, Elsie, now I understand why you're the head of your party in that state. I'm going to pin you down a little bit more. All right, is it make or break for George Bush? Does he have to win this one to stay alive?
I think every candidate wants to win every one, Kathleen, and certainly the Vice President wants to win this one. He is perceived as being in territory that is friendly to George Bush. The polls tell me that he will be doing very well. Contrary to that, I'm certain that Senator Dole will be coming into the state and running very hard. So it's going to be an interesting and exciting race with other factors to build into it.
And how strong can Jack Kemp be when he is vying for a conservative vote now with a man who's gained so much momentum, Pat Robertson?
Because he's been building on momentum here for quite some time now, Kathleen. He's been doing very well and climbing steadily in the polls, and I think that his presence in the race, along with Pete DuPont, not to be discounted because of his support from the union leader, will contribute to a very lively race here.
Okay, Joe, now let's take a look at the Democrats. How much can Dick Gephardt's momentum sustain in New Hampshire?
Well, Congressman Gephardt had a good win last night in Iowa, and there's no question it's going to provide him some considerable electricity up here in New Hampshire. As to who's going to win, I would suggest to you that Vice President Bush has to do very well here in New Hampshire, and yes, Governor Dukakis has to win the New Hampshire Democratic primary.
Did you mean to say Bush just now?
Yes, I did. I mean, of course George Bush has to win the primary up here. The rules in politics are you have to win every once in a while, and he can't suffer a second embarrassment the same way that he suffered last night in Iowa.
Do you see Dukakis taking New Hampshire definitely?
Yes, I think Governor Dukakis will be the numerical winner in New Hampshire. The question is whether or not he's also the perceptual winner.
Perceptual winner?
Well, that means that you people in the media are going to stand back and perform instant analysis on what exactly is a win up here in New Hampshire. We're the only state whose vote is psychoanalyzed. The fact is, there is some fairness to that. Well, he has advantages as well as disadvantages coming from a neighboring state.
Yeah, and Joe, exactly. I mean, that is what the question will be, because how much will that parlay from Massachusetts? Now, how about Senator Simon? Does he need to be #1 to stay alive and sustain a campaign?
Well, I think Senator Simon will be the first to admit that he has to do something to distinguish himself from his competitors. Want to become the party's nominee. And Gephardt, in their rhetoric, continue to be credible.
Joe and Elsie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We look forward to joining you next week in New Hampshire when CBS This Morning will be broadcasting from the primary next Tuesday and Wednesday. 12 minutes after the hour, we'll be back.
Signal your intentions. Show them that you care.
There are ways that you can protect yourself from drunk drivers. For example, always wear your seatbelt and make sure that your passengers buckle up as well. Keep night driving to a minimum. About 80% of all drunk driving accidents occur after 8 p.m. And remember to go easy when you serve alcohol to guests. And if necessary, be willing to call them a cab or drive them home yourself.
When you want to go from freewheeling to 4x4 fun, Chevy S10 lets you do what Ford and Toyota can't. Shift and keep right on going with standard InstaTrack. Plus, get new lower prices on most S10s and $500 cash back.
Chevy S10 today, Chevy truck. Signal your intentions. A message from the Chevrolet Motor Division.
16 years ago, it started with a vision of excellence. Aladdin Resources Incorporated made a commitment to provide a total environment for businesses to operate successfully. Today, the vision and commitment of excellence continues with Fountain Square, Nashville's most exciting shopping, dining, and entertainment marketplace. Stroll along the lakeside promenade and visit with the gallery of specialty shops, unique restaurants, a 14-screen Cineplex, and much more.
The pediatrician said the strangest thing on Friday.
Uh-huh.
She said most kids don't get enough calcium.
Our kids? Well, they look pretty healthy to me. It's not like they don't drink milk.
Well, I thought we'd try the Citrus Hill plus calcium.
Oh, hi, guys. 100% pure orange juice plus calcium.
Mm-hmm. Same amount of calcium as milk. Oh, the doctor said it wouldn't hurt us to get some more calcium either.
She's a kid doctor.
Hey, we're not that old.
Citrus Hill Plus Calcium. It's extra calcium for your family, too.
Just last month, polls showed Gary Hart leading the Democratic race in Iowa, but in last night's caucuses, he finished near the bottom. Gary Hart joins us this morning live from Manchester, New Hampshire. Good morning. You look well rested. Did you stay up and watch the results last night?
No, I didn't. I got a good night's sleep. Thanks, Harry.
How come? We're a little curious about what happened to you last night. What happened here?
Well, what happened as far as we're concerned is that 10 days of campaigning can't compete with a year and a half, or the very small investment of staff and money couldn't compete with the other candidates who have put enormous resources into the Iowa caucuses. We hadn't expected really to be competitive with the major candidates, but I think New Hampshire is going to be a totally different story.
You know, you said when you got back into the race, you said you wanted to let the people decide, and as far as the people of Iowa are concerned, they're not real interested in a Gary Hart candidacy. Only 3% of the people who voted for you in '84 voted for you last night.
Turns out there are 49 other states, though, Harry, and those are the ones we're competing in also. I have said all along this campaign will get stronger the longer it goes. We didn't expect to do particularly well early on, but I am putting forward a reform message and a more complicated message than the others. It's not financed by PAC money. It doesn't promote protectionism, and it gets very detailed and specific on the changes this country is going to have to make, and that'll take time to get across.
I almost sense that you're happy to get this Iowa caucus out of the way.
Well, not really. The people of Iowa were cordial to us, and the crowds were good. But again, a caucus state is very, very preferential towards organization. I didn't do very well in caucus states in '84. I did extremely well in primaries.
Well, of course, you did well here in '84, though. And I mean, it helped raise a flag that Gary Hart was really in the race.
Well, I think I got 16% of the vote. But again, I campaigned there for a year and a half or 2 years, the same as the other candidates have done.
What do you think your campaign has accomplished so far since your re-entry?
Well, it has given voters an alternative, and I think the longer we go, the more clear that alternative will become. I think, frankly, Harry, what's going to happen is the three front runners this morning are all competing for the mantle of Vice President Mondale, that is to be the leader of the traditional wing of the party. I am a party reformer. I want to change the rules, I want to change the arrangements, and I certainly want to change our policies. And I intend to be the principal alternative to whichever of the three emerges as the nominal front runner of the traditional establishment wing of the party.
We were in New Hampshire, watched you a couple of weeks ago in the debate up there. It seems you've been at least laid back in your participation in debates. You're pretty active out on the stump. What is it that's going to help you sort of turn the corner and catch fire again?
Well, I'm not laid back. I'm campaigning the same way I did in 1984. I happen to, at that time, as you'll recall, I was being labeled cool and aloof. There's nothing like winning a primary to make you charismatic, and so I think about the first primary I win, all of a sudden I'll be the most charismatic candidate around.
Which one do you think you have a chance at winning?
They're coming up. If not this one, then one very soon.
In terms of New Hampshire, what if you finish poorly again? What if you finish down near the bottom?
Well, what if? I mean, I can't calculate week after next. We're going to campaign very hard here. It's the reason I came out yesterday, so we'd be ready to hit the ground running this morning. We've got about 12 events today, and we'll have for the next week. And the people of this state have a tradition of making up their own mind. The morning of the New Hampshire primary 4 years ago, I was at 1 or 2% in the national polls. I ended up winning here with, I think, 40 or 42% of the vote. So that shows you how quickly you can move here and how people make up their own mind in New Hampshire.
All right, Gary Hart, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
All right, thank you.
Let's go over right now to Kathleen with some special guests.
Thanks, Harry, and some Monday morning quarterbacking. Joining us now to provide a little expert analysis of these Iowa caucuses, CBS Chief Political Correspondent Bruce Morton and Chief Washington Political Analyst Bob Schieffer. Bob, let's start with you. Robertson, you actually knew all this time. You weren't really surprised, were you?
Well, I'm glad you've given me the opportunity to say that. I said for the record that Pat Robertson could not be counted out of this thing. A very interesting thing happened to me, Kathleen. Last Friday, I kept hearing all of this talk, especially among political reporters, that this invisible army was not going to materialize. So I flew up to Sioux City to tour around with Pat Robertson, who was going through the northern part of the state. And I guess on reflection, my idea of going up there was I wanted to make certain it was time to write off Pat Robertson. I came back and did a story on the Friday Evening News and said Pat Robertson is still a factor. He cannot be written off. The reason I said that was basically I interviewed a lot of Kemp people up there, including the co-chair of the Republican Party up there, who said Pat Robertson is the best organized campaign around here. I kept running into that. Pat Robertson is the best organized campaign around here. What Pat Robertson before positions and grandiose statements and cosmic issues. It's getting your people to the polls. He did it. The invisible army materialized, and that was a very big story here last night.
Bruce, what do you think the biggest story was among the Democrats last night? That Gephardt's victory really wasn't quite the margin that it should have been?
No, I think Gephardt did just fine. I'm old-fashioned about this. I got tired of writing stories saying a better-than-expected second-place showing for whoever it was. You know, I think when you win, you win. And they put all the money in here, put all their people in here, stripped down other offices and said, everybody goes to Iowa, and we crashed the boards on this. And they won, and I think only one Midwesterner could win here, Gephardt or Simon. And the one that wins, I think, comes out on a roll, and the one that loses, I think, comes out in some trouble. I would argue maybe a little with Bob. Sure, it's organization, but for Gephardt, it was, among other things, $500,000 on television. And a well-run, hard-hitting, fairly narrowly targeted television campaign on things like farm policy, which obviously is important here, but trade, which is important because there are a lot of factories that have closed here, and it worked.
And do you know why that the television worked for Gephardt, in my view? Gephardt spent so much time out here. What was he here? 100 days. I remember coming out with him.
Kind of like your Uncle Richard. I mean, you know, you could.
Well, his mom even moved
house.
to Des Moines and took an apartment over here in a hotel, not far from where we are. He was out here more than 100 days. I remember coming out with Dick Gephardt back toward the end of the summer. I went around to 8 towns with him in an airplane one day. During that tour, recruiting precinct captains. In a sense, he was doing the same thing that blitz the place with television ads.
Bruce, shouldn't there also be credit given this morning to the showing of Michael Dukakis, the Northeasterner, the outsider?
I think so. I think if Simon is hurt by being a fairly close second, and I think he is, I think Dukakis is helped by being, again, a fairly close, because the three of them were bunched third. He can go back home and say, as he does, well, I came out here 9 months ago, 10 months ago, and nobody in Iowa even knew what a Dukakis was, and I was competitive with these other guys. And I think that's what he needs to do.
Absolutely.
Is this death for George Bush, especially if he doesn't do well in New Hampshire?
If he doesn't do well in New Hampshire, it is death. It is a serious wound, in my view, for George Bush. After all, this is a sitting vice president. This is a man who won Iowa in 1980. He had the best of people in his campaign, well-financed, and he finishes third behind someone who has never run for public office.
Is this also a signal broader than that, maybe to the congressional candidates, that you cannot run on Ronald Reagan's coattails this year?
Well, I don't think anybody ever runs on anybody's coattails very successfully. I mean, Franklin Roosevelt never was able to elect senators just by saying, you know, he's my guy. I think it says something about Bush. This time, he had all the money in the world, all the people he had. He had a professional named Rich Bond, who was the architect of his victory here in 1980. Now it's 8 years later, he has all the aura, the power of being a sitting vice president, and he blows it.
Bruce Morton, Bob Schieffer, thank you so much, and of course we'll be with you the rest of the political year. Thanks. 23 minutes after the hour. Still ahead, a new surgical method to cure farsightedness. Still ahead on CBS This Morning.
It's great to be a Nashvilleian.
Every year, Nashville presses print over 600 million tons of books. From Bibles to school books to national newspapers and magazines, major publishing companies such as the United Methodist Publishing House and the Southwestern Company are headquartered here. For many years, this healthy printing industry has ranked as one of Nashville's leading employers.
Lee! Miss Lee! Press on nails for for tea.
Miss Lee press-on nails for smaller hands. Easy to put on as regular Lee press-on nails with 4 extra nails. 24 in all for a more perfectly beautiful fit.
Fun at your fingertips. Miss Lee press-on nails.
Introducing Lee sculptured nails. Long-lasting like salon nails, but affordable because you do them at home. Just glue, brush, shape. If you can polish your nails, you can enjoy Lee sculptured nails like nothing you've ever used before.
Discover great savings at Circuit City's Great President's Sale. Enjoy the flexibility of 178 channels with this Zenith 19-inch color TV with remote, just $266.97. This GE VCR has frequency synthesized tuning, only $219.97. Great selection, great savings during the Great President's Sale. Circuit City, the intelligent choice.
Nothing improves the taste of popcorn like the right movie. And nothing helps you find the right movie like TV Guide. Because TV Guide now has the most objective movie rating system anywhere. It's based on performers, directors, awards, box office, and reviews. So you can really depend on it. You can also depend on our new daily preview pages to give you good advice and make your popcorn taste even better. Pick up TV Guide this week. It's better than ever.
From Channel 5, this is an Eyewitness News Update.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joyce Garbasiak. We'll be flirting with temperatures in the 50s today. Here's Joe Case to tell us more. Joe?
Okay, we're looking at cloud cover out there this morning, a little system that's been moving through the area and will move fairly rapidly through, giving us these partly cloudy skies for the afternoon. But back there's still yet another upper level system that'll be coming through, but it doesn't look like it's going to drop the snow that we had been expecting for tomorrow. Our forecast for today looks this way. We're currently at cloudy and 35. Today, mostly cloudy in the morning and then turning partly cloudy by the afternoon and on the warm side, at least for this time of year, close to normal anyway. High of 47 degrees. Joyce?
Checking traffic now, Joe. We have one accident to report at this hour. It is located at South 19th Street and Shelby Avenue. In our news, it's a question of need versus want. Nashville needs an alcohol detox center for its homeless, but the neighborhood that would house such a center doesn't want it. Now only 14 beds exist for that purpose. A new center would bring 36 more. Officials propose to locate the federally funded center in this East Nashville building, but East Nashville residents don't want it there.
There's a lot of elderly people in our neighborhood that can be attacked by somebody like that. And if it's a sign-in program, then they can sign themselves out.
In a meeting last night, health officials insisted that the people who go to the proposed center will stay there.
There won't be a barbed wire fence, there won't be an armed guard, and there won't be any need for those. Nor will there be people from the program wandering about the neighborhood committing crimes.
Neighborhood residents say they don't want their streets to become home to Nashville street people. And we'll be back right after this.
If you shopped at mega markets instead of supermarkets, you'd save on average roughly $15 a week. Week after week. That adds up to $780 per year. So the question is, why not change? For the sake of change. Mega Market, the best food and the absolute lowest food prices.
As you may have seen on CBS This Morning, Congressman Richard Gephardt of Missouri distinguished himself from the pack. Gephardt finished on top in the Iowa Democratic caucuses last night. On the other end of the spectrum, Tennessee's Albert Gore. The favorite son wound up with less than 1% of the vote, fewer votes than New York Governor Mario Cuomo, and Cuomo wasn't even on the ballot. But during an interview on our 6 o'clock news last night, Gore insisted his ignore Iowa strategy is right.
Chris, I'm happier than ever about our decision not to focus on these Iowa caucuses. Only 3% of the people in Iowa participate in those caucuses. They don't have a secret ballot. The result is not an exercise in democracy. It is an exercise by a few small groups there to set up a series of litmus tests, and it has some significance, but it shouldn't be blown way out of proportion and given the preeminent role. And I think people are seeing them differently this time around.
Senator Gore picked up an important endorsement yesterday for his Super Tuesday strategy. In the nation's capital, Kentucky Governor Wallace Wilkinson made his support of the Tennessee candidate official.
Candidates. I've made a determination that Senator Al Gore is indeed the best candidate for Kentucky and for America.
Kentucky is one of the 20 states holding primaries or caucuses on Super Tuesday, which is March 8th. Senator Bob Dole finished first in the Republican Iowa caucuses. Right now, 35 degrees under mostly cloudy skies in Nashville. Later today, expect a high of 47 under partly cloudy skies. CBS This Morning continues after this.
Who says flowers are just for women? On this morning's Talk of the Town, we're going to give you some new ideas on sending flowers to the man in your life for Valentine's Day. We'll also be live from White House, Tennessee to meet the town's biggest clowns. And if you're too busy to shop, you can find out about a wardrobe service that comes to you. Plus, it's National Cherry Month. We're going to show you how to make a luscious cherry tart. That and tons more all coming up this morning at 11 here on Channel 5. I'm Debbie Allen. Won't you join us this morning?
Okay, it's decided. And a man refrigerator.
Right on.
So what do you think, freezer on the top or on the side?
Either way.
Of course, Amanda also makes one with a freezer on the bottom.
Good.
Let's get one on the side with an ice maker.
Aren't you going a little overboard? I mean, it's just a refrigerator.
A man isn't really that expensive. Besides, you didn't think buying that giant screen TV was going overboard.
How can you compare a refrigerator with a necessity of life?
H.H. Gregg, Thompson Lane, Rivergate, and Hickory Hollow.
Put something extra into your day. Join me for Channel 5 Extra weekdays.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Kathleen Sullivan.
And we're almost in the home stretch here for our little stay in
Not
Iowa.
the candidates, though.
That's right. Coming up, Dr. Bob Arnott is going to be reporting on a new and controversial type of eye surgery for farsightedness. It was developed in the Soviet Union and now is available in this country. Also, a mystical remnant of the 60s thriving in Iowa. Followers of the Maharishi are alive and doing very well, thank you, in the town of Fairfield, and we will take you there.
Plus, we're going to welcome back the 3 Iowa caucus participants that we met yesterday to find out how things went last night at the grassroots level at their caucus. May I tell you 2 words: wild and wonderful. And now the news. Here's Faith Daniels. Faith.
Kathleen, after Iowa, the fickle attentions of politics turn today to New Hampshire. The nation's first primary is there next Tuesday. Vice President George Bush wasted no time getting out of Des Moines, where he came in 3rd in the caucus. This morning, he was campaigning at dawn in Nashua, New Hampshire. Those who aren't already there are expected to be soon. The candidates are carrying with them the results of last night's Iowa caucuses. The Republican straw poll went this way. Bob Dole won it with 37%. That was expected. But Pat Robertson, finishing 2nd, was not. The former TV evangelist got 25%. George Bush was driven down to 3rd with 19%. Jack Kemp took 4th with 11%. Pete DuPont next with 7%. Al Haig got less than 1%. The Iowa win under his belt, Bob Dole heads to New Hampshire, running way back in the polls there to George Bush. Dole freely admits his work in the Granite State is cut out for him.
We've got a lot of work to do, but again, I must convince the New Hampshire voters, we did in Iowa, that Bob Dole has a message, that Bob Dole is closer to the people, that Bob Dole can make a difference, and if I can do that, we might win.
Some political analysts say after a 3rd-place showing in Iowa, George Bush must win New Hampshire to keep his campaign alive. For the Democrats this morning, the winner is Richard Gephardt. The Missouri congressman won the Iowa caucuses with 31% of the vote. Paul Simon was 4 points behind him with 27%. Michael Dukakis came in 3rd with 22%. Jesse Jackson had 9%, Bruce Babbitt 6%, Gary Hart and Albert Gore had less than 1% apiece. Earlier on CBS This Morning, Simon and Gephardt explained how they did it.
When I talk about trade and agriculture and energy and the rest of this clump of issues that have to do with economic success, I think it strikes a chord.
The basic message of caring, of fighting for working men and women, of building a safer world, of having a candidate, frankly, in the words of Coretta Scott King, with fire in the heart. I think that is catching on.
A few minutes ago on CBS This Morning, Gary Hart said he didn't expect to do well in Iowa, but Hart promises it will be a different story next week in New Hampshire. United States officials say they want more information about a Kremlin plan to pull all Soviet forces out of Afghanistan. The Kremlin has offered to withdraw its troops after over a 10-month period beginning in May, but only if UN-sponsored peace talks are fruitful. The White House says it appears to be a positive step. Panama's leader Manuel Noriega says he wants the U.S. military out of his country. Noriega was indicted last week in the U.S. on drug smuggling charges. He says American troops in Panama are a threat to Panama's security. The Pentagon says it's committed to keeping a military presence there. Mike Tyson's latest victory is undisputed. The heavyweight boxing champ married actress Robin Givens in Chicago over the weekend. But Tyson's co-manager says married life won't affect the boxer's training schedule. Tyson faces Tony Tubbs in Japan next month and Michael Spink sometime in June. That's the latest from New York. Now back to Iowa. Kathleen?
Faye, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. And now the weather. Let's go back to Mark at Big Creek Lake, snowmobiling country, among other things.
Yes, indeed. Just call me Buona Tundra out here on the lake once again. I'm with John Hamilton. John, you're the president of a snowmobile club. What's the name of the club?
Saylorville Dam Snowmobile Club.
And how many people are in the club?
Approximately 80 family memberships.
And you know, not only do you guys have fun snowmobiling, but you do good stuff for charity. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. We just had a ride 2 weeks ago where we raised...
Now let me tell them about the weather, then we have some more stuff to do. Today, actually, let's talk about tomorrow. Much of the Northeast is going to have a sunny Wednesday with temperatures mainly in the 30s. That storm you see over central Missouri is bringing bad weather, 4 to 6 inches of snow from eastern Nebraska across Iowa, spreading over much of Illinois during the day. The Dakotas and Minnesota will be mainly dry. However, temperatures will be bitterly cold. Also, another batch of rain and snow will be entering the northwest while the southeast will remain nice and warm. That's a quick look at the national forecast. Let's take a look at your weather.
The weather for the Nashville area is going to start out with clouds in the morning, then we should turn partly cloudy by later on in the afternoon today. High temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-40s. The snow has been taken out of the forecast for tomorrow. More on that later. I'm Joe Case.
All right, Kathleen and Harry, I'll see you back in New York later. Hit it. Let's get out of here.
We're not going to run out of food on the plane.
Talk about a graceful exit. Get some minutes before the hour, 24, I guess. Next, a Russian surgical technique to cure farsightedness. One American who had the operation calls the results fantastic.
Why the sad face?
My throat hurts bad, Mommy.
I'll soothe the hurt, my darling. I'll help you through the night. I'll ease the pain, my darling. It's gonna be alright.
A mother's love and children's secrets. Doctors recommend children's secrets. That soothing medicine provides longer-lasting relief.
Time to say
good night, Mommy.
A mother's love and children's secrets both last a long time.
How can you help your home sell faster? Protect the major appliances. If your real estate company can't do that, then you're not listed with the right real estate company. Because you're not listed with an ERA broker.
Tonight's my turn to cook. Look what I whipped up with minute rice. Minute rice garden, medley, Chinese chicken, and...
This morning's health segment is sponsored by doctor-recommended Preparation Age. Helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissue.
The same Soviet eye doctor who developed an operation to cure nearsightedness now has one for farsightedness, and it has just come to this country. It's already the subject of intense debate, though. Here is Dr. Bob Arnott.
It's just now on CBS.
Bank loan processor Dee Brown was so farsighted, she found it hard to tell 5s from 8s on a page, even with glasses. 3 weeks ago, she became one of the first 3 Americans to have TKP to correct farsightedness. This form of TKP, or thermokeratoplasty, was developed in Moscow by Dr. Sviatoslav Fyodorov, the pioneer of assembly line eye surgery. Here's how TKP works. In the farsighted eye, nearby images come into focus behind the retina. The goal is to move the focus forward by putting a greater curve in the cornea, the clear window at the front of the eye. That's done using this needle, heated to anesthetic.
In this procedure, this ring of tissue here on the outer part of the cornea shrinks. It then cinches in like a belt, causing the central part of the cornea to bulge forward.
If it curves out just the right amount, the farsightedness is corrected. But does it work?
I would say the great majority of people, if the procedure works as the Russians describe it, are going to be good candidates and have a good result.
Dr. William Ellis is about to perform his first TKP. Is one of the only 3 Americans trained in the new procedure. But Dr. Herbert Kaufman, head of the LSU Eye Center, thinks it's an operation whose time has not come. 13 years ago, he introduced TKP to fix misshapen corneas, but later abandoned it.
We could not modify the treatment to get these results predictable. It was just a totally unpredictable kind of operation.
Proponents say Dr. Fyodorov has done better.
He has determined that the predictability can be in a fairly accurate range.
Dr. Robert Marmer says the predictability comes from the computer software, which tells the position and depth of the punctures. But the Russian data show that while most people show some improvement, only those with the least vision problem are likely to get complete correction. The answer?
If we fall short of our goal, there's no reason why additional applications can't be done at a later date to get more effect.
Because the cornea takes its new shape slowly, patients won't know for months whether they have a full correction or will still need glasses. Beyond the concerns about predictability, there's a more important question. Is it safe? The Russians claim only 4 minor complications after more than 2,000 procedures. But Dr. Eric Donenfeld, who is testing TKP on animals, worries about long-term damage.
Thermokeratoplasty, in our research, will definitely damage the inner layers of the cornea. What we don't know is exactly how much damage will be done.
It scares me a little bit because the Soviet technique involves putting needles deep within the cornea. And when heat is put deep in the cornea, it can damage the inside layer of the cornea, which can give a permanent damage of premature aging that could result in blindness years later.
Dr. Ellis says the Russians claim only 0 to 7% of interlayer cells are lost.
It's a very low amount. And if indeed this is true, then I think that the risks involved with this procedure will again be shown to be very small.
TKP is now available in this country at about $1,200 per eye. If you're tempted, remember that it is still experimental and it is not being tested by this country's major eye research groups. Is it safe? Is it effective?
My advice would be to let someone else be the guinea pig.
The answers may be years away. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, New York.
It's now 18 minutes before the hour. Coming up next in Iowa Town, where Eastern mysticism meets Western pragmatism.
My mother-in-law recommended Preparation H for my hemorrhoids. Why should I listen to my mother-in-law? Because she's also a doctor.
In a national survey, 2 out of 3 doctors named Preparation H among the hemorrhoid remedies they recommended to their patients in the past year. It often relieves pain and itching for hours, helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissue, and soothes painful irritation.
I really listen to what my doctor recommends.
Preparation H, recommended by 2 out of 3 doctors.
Doctors know best.
My first big Valentine's Day was back in the 4th grade. We all got 28 Valentine cards. My teacher made every one of us send a Valentine to everyone else. You know those goofy little cards? But Brenda Hudson. Brenda sent me a real Valentine card. A giant heart. My buddies never let me forget it. But I hung on to that card. Thank you, Brenda.
Any Brenda Hudsons in there?
Could someone you know use a Valentine from Hallmark? The place to go when you care enough to send the very best.
Sara Lee has a bagel for people who like lots of raisins, for people who like lots of poppy seeds, and for people who don't like anything at all.
Nobody doesn't like Sara Lee.
They used to call me a tomboy. I'd climb these trees in my daddy's groves and eat the oranges fresh picked. I'd come home with orange nails and a sticky chin, and Mom would put me right in the tub. That fresh-picked goodness is captured by Tropicana Pure Premium. The other major brands add things to or take things out of their juice. With Pure Premium, the way the rain and the sun make it is the way you taste it. Tropicana Pure Premium. You just can't pick a better juice.
Think of Iowa and you think of corn and caucuses. Two things that don't come to mind are meditation and mystics, unless you happen to be in the town of Fairfield.
All you need is love.
It didn't last long. Perhaps the Beatles believed that east is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. That's not the case in Fairfield, Iowa, a place where silos share the skyline with the golden domes of pure knowledge, and where twice a day hundreds of Maharishi followers practice transcendental meditation, or TM as they like to call it. But don't expect a lifestyle trimmed with sandals, beads, and flower power. Try business suits, high-tech, and entrepreneurism. Folks here at Global Holonetics, a sophisticated laser camera company, share a common bond.
An enthusiasm for working with laser technology. Also, people enjoy doing transcendental meditation, and that they find that that helps them very much in their day-to-day activities here.
Call it karma, call it capitalism, but Maharishi followers like Dave Clark have helped turn Fairfield into a boom town. Nearly 300 disciple-owned businesses have brought life to an economically depressed area. It all began back in 1977. Bankrupt Parsons College was bought by the Maharishi. It became Maharishi International University, and its leader sent out a message to his followers.
Maharishi Mahesh Yogi at that time said it would be good for meditators to get together in a large group on a daily basis to do their program, and asked that people move to Fairfield, Iowa.
So Jerry Leahy, a devoted follower, moved his already successful business, Overland Outfitters, from New Mexico to Iowa. Almost 2,000 more heeded the call. Fred Gratson was among them.
I had to find another way of making a living as opposed to teaching TM. There's just not many people here to teach. So I had to think of something, and I couldn't find any good ice cream in Iowa. So I started an ice cream business.
Last year, his Great Midwestern Ice Cream scooped almost $3 million worth of business. Twice a day, rush hour comes to Maharishi University. At 7 a.m. and 5 p.m., the meditators head to the gold domes. Men and women meditate separately. Here, they look for that...
Listen, I've been doing it for 20 years, so it gives me a feeling that I can do anything.
Meditators have a way of thinking that's pretty clear, and they decide on a project and they seem to be able to move ahead with it.
But in truth, and the meditators are the first to admit it, they have had more than a little help apart from the Maharishi. The state government and local chamber of commerce are always ready to help budding industries levitate with financial packages and land leasing deals. And the Fairfield locals have learned to like the meditators.
We get a lot of them in here, and they're good for business.
They have done me no harm, and I don't intend to do them any harm, so let's leave it like that.
All this peace, love, and prosperity makes Fairfield the envy of surrounding towns. Personal income has risen 55% here, and retail sales have increased 90%. Mantras plus meditation equal money. 13 minutes before the hour. Next, how the Iowa caucuses really work. We'll show you and talk with 3 caucus participants.
I had procrastinated for an awfully long time about doing something about my teeth. I had a lot of buildup of tartar, which made cleaning them very difficult. The dentist recommended Crest Tartar Control toothpaste, and I've been using it ever since. I've been very satisfied myself with the results, and so has my dentist. I don't have the problem with tartar that I did before. And the solution seems to be Crest Tartar Control toothpaste.
Here at San Francisco's Coffee Cantata Gourmet Coffee House, you'll find people who really know their coffee. Today, we're secretly replacing the Cantata's freshly ground coffee with mountain-grown Folgers crystals. Will it be rich enough?
It has a nice aroma.
Tastes like good, rich, fresh ground coffee. It's Folgers crystals.
It is? In a coffee house? Tastes like fresh ground coffee that we would serve at home.
This is good. This is nice coffee.
Mountain-grown Folgers Crystals. Coffee rich enough to be served in America's finest gourmet coffee houses.
Whatever happened to supermodel Margot Hemingway? How did her overnight success vanish overnight? This week's People tells it all. Win $10,000 and a trip to the Academy Awards in the Diet Dr. Pepper sweepstakes. Details in People.
Something good is coming up when you get the biscuit down.
Crack open some piping hot Bisquick biscuits and melt your family's hearts.
Get the biscuit down.
Hon, we'll be late for work. Poor Barbara. She took a cold medicine for her stuffy nose, and now it's made her drowsy. If only she could go back and take Sudafed instead. You see, Sudafed starts to work in as quick as 22 minutes without drowsiness. So you don't get drowsy, you get relief. Hon, we'll be late for work.
What took you so long?
Sudafed for fast relief without drowsiness.
Well, yesterday we talked with 3 Iowa caucus goers about what their caucus would be like, and then last night we went with Ned Chido, Jerry Crawford, and Denise Eisman to watch the action right down at the grassroots level. The typical Iowan may be a quiet, reserved Midwesterner, but not on this caucus night. When the Democrats of District 97 met at Jefferson Elementary School in Des Moines, there was some excitement, some shouting, some good-spirited controversy. Jerry. Ned Chido, Jerry Crawford, and Denise Eisman are joining us this morning. All right, I want to go through it as quickly as we can to get through this evening. Start at 7 o'clock, you open it up, and you say at 7:30 we're going to all divvy up. But you open it up to resolution. People wanted a line item veto voted down. 7:30 you take the first votes, you split apart. All right, then what happened?
Well, we divided into preference groups right at 7:30. The caucus was anxious to get on to the real business, which is dividing into presidential preference groups. And with the help of my friends, they were my friends before, they're my friends now, we were able to convince the 150-some people who were gathered there last night to get right onto the real business. Otherwise, we might still be out there haggling over one thing and another. And when we divided up, 4 groups were viable. Dukakis, Babbitt, Simon, and Gephardt were viable, but Jackson was close enough so that it required an opportunity to realign and see if Jackson could become viable. Our district only elected 4 delegates, and so there were 5 groups contending for those 4 positions, and that's where the battle was joined.
And you said that 23 was the threshold, and there was a gentleman there representing the Jesse Jackson delegation,
Larry Carter,
who last night was very specific in the fact, and in an appeal to all the voters, that you're taking away our franchise to vote, that in Iowa, blacks don't really, he felt disenfranchised, but that did appeal, Ned, down toward the 3rd.
Well, that wasn't what was going on. The Simon people saw an opportunity to take away a Gephardt vote by sending some Simon people to support Jesse Jackson. They made a critical mistake in assuming that they only had to transfer the minimum. One of the things I learned early in this process, you always have a few votes stashed away. So when they tried to send over the minimum, I went and got my other votes and kept my viability.
And you also went up to Denise to say, Denise, hold firm. Don't let any of your Babbitt supporters go over in any way to the Jesse Jackson appeal.
Well, the other thing I was trying to tell Denise was that it was in her best interest not to let the Jackson people become viable, because in the structure of things, Babbitt and Jackson were somewhat competing, and for her to let Jackson become viable was a detriment to her.
Not my opinion, of course. I think it surprised both of these gentlemen that Babbitt had the largest turnout. We had the largest turnout there, and of course yesterday both of these gentlemen were telling me if we didn't have enough for delegate, they would send their delegates, their people to me.
You have to understand the demographics of the precinct. That precinct is infested with limousine liberals, so going into the caucus, I anticipated that would be the numbers. My candidate does not appeal to limousine liberals.
So you were pleased with the outcome?
Yeah, we held our own.
All of you only had 1 delegate. You fought very hard for that one. But across the state, Denise, are you disappointed at Bruce Babbitt's showing?
I'm disappointed, but I'm very proud to be a Bruce Babbitt supporter because I still think he is the best presidential candidate. And what is it, Yogi Berra says, it's not over until it's over.
Well, I think the fat lady is starting to sing.
And now it's on to New Hampshire, and it looks very much like it's going to be Mike Dukakis and Dick Gephardt.
Oh, Bob, here we go again. Now let's go back to this caucus, you guys. If I let go of that. one woman came up, and she was in your group, I think, in Dick Gephardt's group, and she came running up to the back to a Babbitt supporter, and she yelled at him, pointed her finger at him, she goes, "You come down here and you change immediately. I want you to go to Jesse Jackson." And he just said no, and she said, "Well, then you're walking home, honey."
There was a lot of that going on.
Ned's wife.
In fact, that's one of the ways I got my votes, because I went to the spouses of people who had their partners in another group and told them to go get their partner. Well, Denise pulled a nice little trick. Every year you learn something new. She gave away T-shirts to people as they walked in the door and stole about 3 of my votes.
They had them before they came.
She gave them away before the caucus.
I went to a different caucus last night. I was incredibly impressed with the passion, with the patriotism, with the fervor that, I mean, the degree of commitment that everyone came to these caucuses with. For people who are uninitiated, it is an incredible experience. You must be very proud of this system.
For 2 reasons last night. First of all, last night was the largest turnout in the history of the Democratic caucuses in the state of Iowa. And I think that when November comes, the country will be able to look to Iowa and say the Democrats showed in Iowa that they were very interested in the candidates this time, and the Republicans from Iowa are going to get credit for pretty much polishing up the Republican chances, I think. They've done a good job.
In fact, if you want to make an argument, the Republicans ought to change their process to more like ours.
Ned, Denise, Jerry, thank you so much. And I guess we'll see you in 4 years.
Thank you for coming to our caucus.
It was fun.
4 minutes before the hour, we'll be back.
The delicious taste of Stouffer's French bread pizza explained by a blockhead.
It doesn't take any brains to realize that when Stouffer's makes pizza, they make only the best. Notice the extra crispy French bread, the fresh-tasting toppings, and there's a lot of them. I mean, you're not the damn blockhead not to try Stouffer's.
Hey, you're not supposed to say anything without me.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Help yourself, help yourself, help yourself to Stouffer's Pizza. Help yourself to Stouffer's Pizza.
We felt it was time you heard from a pharmacist who still doesn't recommend Drixoral for 12 hours of cold relief. But he is out with a cold. Drixoral, the pharmacist's favorite.
Denture wearers, if you haven't become a fresh mouth yet, you've got to try my Polydin Green. It's got a minty mouthwash ingredient, so it freshens up dentures as it cleans tough stains. Try Super Strength Polydin Green, the mouth freshening clean. Ah.
Now on CBS This Morning, here's a look at your weather.
The weather for the Nashville area is going to start out with clouds in the morning, then we should turn partly cloudy by later on in the afternoon today. High temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-40s. The snow has been taken out of the forecast for tomorrow. More on that later. I'm Joe Case.
Yes, you can go home again. We've had a good time in Iowa the last few days.
Your people are wonderful, Harry.
Well, thanks very much. I think all of Iowa thanks you.
Very gracious and very bright. What did you tell me that quote that was in Time magazine about Bartle?
Oh, they people of Iowa look like Bartles and James, but they sound like McNeil Lehrer.
Very true. Iowa, thank you for letting us have these 2 days here. Tomorrow we're back in New York, and we're also going to be talking to a man we didn't talk to today, Al Haig.
And we're also going to be checking in with Voodoo in America, computer dog matching service for people and dogs. Don't forget the CBS Evening News tonight with Dan Rather, and 48 Hours in the Promised Land tonight. Gaza Strip. Don't miss it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good day, everybody.
A nation in conflict, guns and fists, tear gas and stones, Israelis and Palestinians fighting for a place they both call home. Join Dan Rather and CBS News teams for 2 days and 2 nights for the stories behind the headlines. What happens to them will happen to you. 48 Hours tonight.
You don't know it, but you and your family are part of a conspiracy. They want to use you, and then...
The contract will specifically call for the assassination of Mrs. Ashley and of her 2 children.
I tell you what I'd do, Mrs. Ashley. I'd go home, right now.
Jacqueline Smith, Robert Wagner, tonight, Sidney Sheldon's Windmills of the Gods.
This is CBS.
This is your home-owned Horner Roush Optical Superstore. If you've ever waited a week to get glasses, you know our in-store lab means prescriptions can be completed in an hour. We offer service as well as selection and a free 1-year guarantee.
I don't panic now if I break my glasses. I can get another pair at Horner Roush in an hour.
You can get an eye examination with the doctor on premises or just bring us your prescription. Horner Roush Optical, now with 4 superstores.
Hello, friend. Alan Purnell here. You know out here on the farm you need a good meal to get the day started. That's why I enjoy my breakfast so much, because it gives me energy. And that old folks sausage flavor comes through every time. It's made and seasoned just right, the way my daddy taught my brother and me a long time ago. So have an energy-packed meal featuring Purnell's Old Folks Whole Hog Country Sausage. You'll see what I mean when I say it's good.
Just wait till you taste Dad's meatloaf.
I can wait.
Hey, with Heinz 57 sauce, even I can make delicious meals. Recipes are right on the bottle, like my great American meatloaf. I just add a 1/4 cup of Heinz 57 sauce to my meatloaf, bake, and voila.
Well, how is it?
Delicious.
Heinz 57 sauce, more than a steak sauce, a heck of a lot more.
New Heinz Starter Sauce is the best tasting national brand. Most everyone agrees.
Win, lose, or draw, tonight at 6:30.
So this palm reader tells me I'm going to meet a tall man with glasses who'll love me on sight. Well, I'm sitting at the airport 3 weeks later, and some guy catches my eye and smiles. Now, he didn't wear glasses, and he was sitting, so I couldn't tell if he was tall. I rushed to my analyst, Dr. Flunkin, to get a scientific...
Wouldn't it be nice if everyone had a blackout button? Well, today, Phyllis Diller and her contestant partner, Linda Sue Long-Henry, and Charles Nelson Riley and his contestant partner, John Morrissey, all have blackout buttons right here